we talk about the British invasion in chapter 6, and the Beatles being probably the foremost innovators in studio technology with their four-piece band sort of set the standard. You know, the Stones, of course, were expanding and contracting all the time, but the Beatles, it was a four-piece band. And so we had a lead guitar player, we had a secondary rhythm guitar player, although they would trade licks too. We had Paul McCartney doing the bass. Thanks for standing in for Paul. And then we had a drummer. And Ringo is in a drum booth. So, what does this all mean?
When the Beatles recorded Hard Day's Night, the technology was at the point of having 4 tracks of audio available for production. That means that everything that you hear on the entire album was recorded on only 4 channels, and that meant that they had to combine things in some interesting ways. All of our band members, you see, had their mics and instruments routed and mixed together onto just 1 channel. And so that left 3 other channels for further production. Generally, the vocals were considered the most important thing. There was also a channel for other solos that could be played, and then there was a channel for background vocals. So that is how they got so much sound on so few channels. So one of the cool tricks with using the 4-channel recorders that the Beatles used was that there were 2 different speeds they could play the tapes back at. So there was a slow speed or a fast speed. So if you look here, that's 30 inches per second, but you could also play it at 15 inches per second. So that means half as fast. So if you record at 30 feet per second and play it back at 15 feet per second, everything is slowed down 50% and the pitch drops. What they discovered is that if you play it back at that slow speed and recorded on one of the empty channels, when you brought it back up to regular speed, you could have super accurate solos because you had so much time to play accurately. So let me just show you how this works. So now, if we switch it back to 30 frames per second and play it back, listen to that solo that I just played. So that was just one of the many tricks that they were learning at the time and experimenting with. The opening chord of the song, it's very distinctive. It was a little strange. It was a hybrid where 2 guitarists were playing different things. So George Harrison had a 12-string. In his case, it was an electric 12-string. And he played a kind of G chord that had some suspended notes in it, so it was. So at the same time that George Harrison played that G chord, John Lennon played an F chord with a ninth in it, F9 chord. So his sounded like this. After that original rhythm track had been recorded, George Martin decided that he wanted to get a really low G and D sound. So on one of those empty tracks, he, on the piano, played this. So if you combine all of those three layers, this is what you get.